Is that the investigation of Officer Darren Wilson is taking too long. Just hours ago, Prosecutor Bob McCulloch told me a grand jury decision could come by early November. I asked him why this process is taking so long.
Well, here's what happens is in most situations, and this is different, this is being handled differently than most cases. We take any homicide case, murder cases, anything involving a death, go to the grand jury. What happens usually is that the investigation is completed.
But that's not the case here. So the grand jury is hearing testimony from the witnesses directly instead of through detectives.
There has been some call that, I'm not going to be fair and impartial, and so I don't think those are legitimate claims, but again, an abundance of caution, by putting on all of the evidence, by putting on the witness, there isn't anyone who can legitimately say, well, yeah, the cops came in and said this, but that's not really what the guy said. Well, now we've got the guy sitting there saying, here's what I saw.
There was also a great deal of speculation on the possible charges Officer Wilson could face. McCulloch tells me almost anything is possible.
How wide a range of charges can the grand jury consider here?
I'm glad you asked that, because one of the other bits of misinformation out there is that we're just going to present all this to them and say, you figure it out. By statute, again, the prosecutor is the legal advisor to the grand jury. We will present the law to them, which will include all the elements for murder in the first degree, murder in the second degree, voluntary manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, and any other legal definitions or theories that are required to be presented to the grand jury.
Today is the first time McCulloch has spoken out about the grand jury investigation in weeks. He tells me he wanted to speak because of what he calls so much misinformation and misunderstanding about the grand jury process. Sharon?